Down the implication of the Indian government's approval of the rare earths manufacturing scheme, and that scheme is worth about 7,300 crore rupees. The announcement was made by the Information and Broadcasting Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, and he emphasized that rare earth is a strategic material. The PLI scheme, it aims to promote domestic manufacturing of sintered permanent magnets that are used across EVs and aerospace and defense and medical equipment too. So this is expected to create a total capacity of 6,000 metric tons per annum. Let's break it down. My colleague Shrimi has been looking at these developments, and earlier today she sent us this report from Delhi.
Well, absolutely a very big move as Cabinet clears a very important incentive scheme on rare earth permanent magnet with an outlay of 7,300 crore, whereas around 6,500 crore would go to capex requirement and remaining 800 crore would go to operational and production requirement. And if you see the key highlights of the scheme, what Ashwini Vaishnav during the press briefing emphasized the fact that the scheme has the capacity of 6,000 million ton capacity, and if you see, India actually requires, and its domestic requirement is somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 million tons capacity. So this is going to have a big boost there, and of course it will reduce import dependency to up to zero is what the expectation and anticipation from the government in next 7 years. So that's a big takeaway. The minister also talked about that they are going to collaborate with certain countries including Japan, US and Australia in terms of having technology from them to develop more advanced rare earth magnet production and related things with regard to the production and manufacturing of those. And in fact they're also saying that semiconductor mission also impact with the scheme to support setting up in India. They also kind of highlighted the fact that both private sector and public sector firms can participate in rare earth scheme. Lot of companies, lot of sectors, specifically electronic, auto, steel, have shown interest in participating in this scheme in the initial consultation. And in fact, guidelines of the scheme is expected to be soon out, which will definitely give a part on how this entire scheme will work. So clearly it's a move to reduce dependency, which we have seen that how China in recent past has imposed export restriction on rare earth, a critical component essential for, of course, industry like EV, defense. So this is going to, of course, have a huge opportunities for companies also to come forward and invest in this space.
It has been touted as the new oil. So when you talk about rare earth and pushing up India's capability and reducing the dependence that India has on China, as also many other countries across the world. So now to move that decision ahead, the Union Minister spoke about this, Ashwini Vaishnav. He recalled the shortage of magnets and semiconductor chips when he was talking about the importance of this move. He said that it halted automobile and electronics sector, especially during the hit of the pandemic when COVID hit us. And so he said, learning from this, India has launched the semiconductor mission for chips. And now it has declared a dedicated program to manufacture these permanent magnets made from rare earth elements. And the minister has also said that the private sector and government firms can participate in rare earth scheme, whereas electronics, auto companies, steel companies, they have displayed an interest in this. So will this reduce import dependence? That's a big question, but this is the word that came in from the minister earlier today.
हम सब जानते हैं कि रेयर अर्थ और परमानेंट मैग्नेट ये आज एक स्ट्रेटेजिक सेक्टर से जुड़ी हुई चीज बन चुके हैं। कोविड के दौरान सबने देखा कि मैग्नेट की कमी के कारण और चिप्स की कमी के कारण करीब बहुत सारी चीज़ों की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, चाहे वो कार हो, चाहे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के आइटम्स हो, उनकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बंद हो गई थी। इस स्ट्रैटेजिक सेक्टर की इम्पोर्टेंस को समझते हुए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पहले सेमीकंडक्टर मिशन बनाया जिसमें चिप्स मैन्युफैक्चर हो सके, और आज कैबिनेट में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अप्रूव किया है परमानेंट मैग्नेट के मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का बड़ा प्रोग्राम एक आज अप्रूव किया। इसमें प्राइवेट सेक्टर कंपनियां भी जुड़ सकती हैं और गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज भी पार्टिसिपेट कर सकती हैं। दोनों ही इसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं। जो सेक्टर्स से बहुत इंटरेस्ट आया है वो सेक्टर्स हैं, एक तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वाले सेक्टर्स हैं, दूसरा ऑटोमोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के सेक्टर्स, उनमें जो कंपनीज काम कर रही हैं वो लोग इसमें परमानेंट मैग्नेट में भी जुड़ना चाहते हैं। स्टील मेकिंग वाले इसमें जुड़ना चाहते हैं। गाइडलाइंस और पेनल्टी वाला क्वेश्चन, ये दोनों आपको बहुत जल्दी मिल जाएगा। गाइडलाइंस बहुत रैपिडली इसकी निकलेगी और इसका एग्जीक्यूशन भी बहुत फास्ट होगा, क्योंकि तैयारी बहुत अच्छे तरीके से की गई है और बहुत एक्सटेंसिव कंसल्टेशन हुआ है। इंटर मिनिस्टेरियल डायलॉग भी बहुत सीरियस हुआ और इंडस्ट्री के साथ भी बहुत डिटेल्ड एक्सटेंसिव कंसल्टेशन हुआ है। नाम तो बहुत ट्रांसपेरेंटली सेलेक्ट होंगे और लोकेशन जैसे सेमीकंडक्टर में भी है, पीपल डिसाइड, द सिलेक्टेड कंपनीज दे डिसाइड उनको कहाँ पे साइटिंग उनको करनी है।
Well, that's what we got from the Union Minister. Of course, a lot more details will come through in the guidelines, but to break down the implications and how far India can go in building its self-reliance on rare earth magnets, let's speak to Nagarajan Mahadevan. He's the Managing Director of Intellis Industries. This is a company that manufactures rare earth metals and alloys for the clean energy sector, and that includes materials for electric vehicles and wind turbines as well, I'm given to understand. But great to have you on the show, Mr. Mahadevan. Do tell us, in your understanding, this PLI of roughly 7,300 crore rupees, how do you think it's going to help your industry and your company?
Good evening, and thank you, NDTV Profit, for having me, and also Honorable Prime Minister and his team, which has effectively put this through. It is the most wanted and most needed incentive, because rare earth is a capital-intensive segment, and it is also a very critical segment indeed. The 7,200 and odd crores will go a long way, and also paving the way for 6,000 metric tons support by way of rare earth permanent magnets is indeed commendable. And thank you to Niti Aayog, which mooted this, and Indian Rare Earth, a company which is making rare earth oxide in India, and with which we have made oxide to metal and metal to alloy. And it has to be further processed to get from alloy to rare earth permanent magnet blocks, and further on to precision engineering, which goes into components.
Correct. But now, Mr. Mahadevan, we are at a stage where 70% of the world's rare earth metals are mined by China. 90% of the world's rare earth metals are processed in China. So that has been the problem that we are trying to address. So there is a lot of catch-up to do over here. Realistically, how much can this really reduce our import reliance over the next 5 to 7 years that this scheme is going to play out? 2 years for setting up the plants. Realistically, how quickly can one cut down our reliance on China?
I must bring in a little bit of statistics here, if I'm allowed to. India stands number 5, if not number 6, in terms of rare earth reserve, which is about 6% of the world reserve. It is true, China has upwards of 50, and China has been in the segment for more than 3 decades. So given the stand that we have started this in decent time, like in this current decade, 2021 onwards, and having come out with this scheme in 2025, I'm sure with 6% capability, which translates into roughly 13.5 million tons, or about 11 million tons of rare earth reserves, we would be there very soon, not only to meet the Indian requirement, but most likely also to be able to cater to the allied countries.
But the environment issues, because yes, they can be very taxing on the environmental concerns that are strong. Mr. Mahadevan, how do you think we are going to address that at a time that pollution is a big topic of concern in India?
Pollution, ESG, is completely addressed by Indian Rare Earth Limited, which is the mandated processing PSU to process the ore into rare earth oxide. Pollution comes from radioactive substance, and IREL has been a master in this. Dr. Arun Patra and Dr. Dipender Singh have really set up an excellent facility along with the current CMD, Mr. Mohanty, and the technical director, Mr. Anutham Mishra. So the pollution happens at the ore, and then from ore to conversion, rather the extraction by solvent, and then on to the extraction to oxide.
Sure.
These are completely managed in the most effective way by Indian Rare Earth Limited, and they've done an excellent job. Yes, there are levels of pollution when you process like we do, from oxide to metal to alloy, etc., but they are completely within the international parameters defined.
Right. But talking about, the kind of mining access that rare earth magnet plants are going to require, also the refining capability, the precision manufacturing that it requires, I wanted to ask you if you think Indian companies have the kind of technical depth that is required, or do you think we'll have to do tech tie-ups with an Australia or a Japan? Is that unavoidable? So in that sense, are we moving our dependence, so to speak, if we need to know all that we need to know to be able to get this piece right?
Technology and process capability is a big if and question indeed. And China, having been in this segment for 30 years, has mastered it. But at the same time, DMRL, which is an outfit of DRDO, and also BARC, Baba Atomic Research Center, as well as IREL, have all put their capabilities. India is nowhere lacking with reference to the process capabilities.
Sure.
And the process is known as molten salt electrolytic process, which is a good 200-year-old process in engineering and in chemistry, metallurgy. And it is only the process parameters which have to be mastered. We have done that. And with the help of BARC and IREL, and of course, DMRL, which has been a pioneer in this field. And we have commercially qualified our metal and alloy. So, which is to say that, yes, India has the capability, 100% indigenous capability. It will be in good time, say in 2 years.
So will the PLI scheme attract investment? Because at one level are the investments that PLIs will bring, like the one that we are talking about. But when it comes to mining and processing those bottlenecks, you perhaps need complementary reforms. Do you think this PLI is going to do the trick, or you'll need more reforms for this PLI to succeed?
I think that aspect of it is taken care of. The aspect you're talking of ore to the oxide conversion is being taken care of by Ministry of Mines scheme known as National Critical Mineral Mission. There is a very large sum of money that is assigned to it. If I'm right, it's about 16,800 crores. It's been current, and that supports mining, processing, solvent extraction, etc., etc.
Okay.
And most of the technology part, typically there is an upstream, a midstream, and a downstream in the rare earth permanent magnet field. Upstream is conversion of ore to oxide, which is exclusively done by IREL and supported by NCMM, National Critical Mineral Mission, Ministry of Mines. Midstream is converting oxide to metal, to alloy, to REPM blocks. And downstream is precision engineering, which is converting the blocks into components which go ultimately into the various segments you mentioned, beginning with electric vehicles, ending with defense, if not drones or white goods or whatever that is. It is going to be the alloy of the future, if you ask me, as a person who's been involved with this.
Indeed.
So I hope I've answered your question.
Indeed, you have. And because the rare earth magnets are so essential for so many essentials, we're talking about EVs and drones and missiles and radars, so many places where you require this. So now to kind of push up our self-reliance on this is going to be a upmost as far as the PLI's hopes are concerned and how this succeeds. We'll be checking in with you in the future. Mr. Mahadevan, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I take this opportunity, if I have a minute, to thank once again the Honorable Prime Minister and also Dr. V.K. Saraswat and his team of Niti Aayog, IREL, DMRL, BARC, and of course, my team, which has supported me in getting it to this point. Thank you. And appreciate, of course, last but not the least, NDTV Profit.
Thank you so much. Thank you.